Hey everybody, William Brown back again. And as you can tell, I'm outdoors. My old lady's hogging up the bedroom right now. She wants to watch TV, so I can't film, so I decided I'd come out here on the balcony. If there's like a really loud buzzing noise in the background, it's the air conditioning units downstairs. So try to bear with me here. We moved. As you can tell, the scenery's different. I still haven't got my little setup all hooked up yet, so not sure how my videos are going to look here in the future, but I am fixing to get back to work. Here a few days ago, I was invited to attend an open carry march in Washington, D.C. I was invited by Christopher Cantwell to an event that's being hosted by Adam Kokesh. I first looked at it, I thought, man, that's interesting. Stupid, but interesting. Well, let me wait a couple of days and figure out what I think about it. So I waited a couple of days, and just the more I thought about it, just the more stupid it gets. I'm kind of going to break this video down into two parts. Okay, first is the event itself, the wisdom of it or lack of. And the second would be whether it's a good idea or not, is Adam Kokesh the right person to be heading this up? Is he a leader? Okay, first things first. This is kind of like the golden rule of activism, is you don't do anything illegal. And if somebody asks you to do something illegal, well, that's kind of like the first sign of a provocateur or a saboteur or a snitch, rat, whatever you want to call them. People who come in the activist community, people who come to you wanting you to do something illegal or trying to instigate something illegal, people you need to watch. So take that for what it is, you know. It is what it is. Another thing too, and this is kind of now point number two, and this is kind of a touchy subject here, and yeah, you can take it however you want. Beware of the professional activist. That's what I call them, professional activists. Generally, an activist, when you think of activist, you think volunteer. Somebody, they do it out of conviction. They're doing it because they believe. They take time out of their day to do it. They do it at their own expense, whatever. And then you have this small subset. It's the professional activists. These are the ones who their activism pays. Okay, it's how they pay their mortgage. It's how they put food on the table. Now you say, why beware of them? Money changes everything. You're doing what you do, I do what I do out of what we believe. It comes from our heart. We do this because we want to. We hope to see a better world. We work to achieve a better world. We're not getting a paycheck, okay? Some people get paychecks. And like I said, money changes everything. Money corrupts. So anytime somebody's receiving money in return for doing something, you got a master-servant type dichotomy going there. So now the third point that I'd like to make is concerning leaders, choose them wisely, especially within the liberty movement, where you got some fringe groups, fringe people that believe some strange things. There's always a few people lurking around with the potential for disaster, which is why you never ask anybody to do anything illegal. Because in the past, activists who have done illegal things, it doesn't work. Now, the fourth and probably the most important point I'd like to bring up, besides that first one, is prize versus price. Okay? So you get asked to do something illegal. Now, is it what kind of illegal is it? Is this you going to go down to a central booking and sit up in there for a few hours till they make bond? Or are you fixing to lose your freedom? I mean, lose it for real, for years and years. What are they asking you to do? Is there a high risk of losing your freedom, losing your life, losing all your money, lose everything you've worked for, lose your family, lose your kids, lose your home, lose your job? All these kinds of dire consequences that you might suffer as an activist, especially whenever you go to do something illegal. So you got to think, what do I stand to gain from this? And what's the worst that I could lose? What's the worst thing that could happen? And what's the best that I can gain? Is the best that I can gain worth this over here. Gotta think about that. So let's take a close look at this particular little endeavor. Okay, first of all, people are saying there's a possibility there's going to be a bloodbath. People being gunned down in the streets and all that. Yeah, well, it's always a possibility, I guess. Personally, I think the odds of that happening are slim and none, and slim's out of town. And the reason being, I don't think they're going to let you be a martyr. They're not taking job applications for martyrs. So, yeah, if you think you're going to go down in a hail of bullets and a burst of glory or whatever, like kind of misbegotten James Dean, you're living in a fantasy world. Probably give it another few years and you'll grow out of it, because most people that seem to be involved in all this are in their 20s, fairly young, still got that idealism, still got romanticized versions of their own death or whatever. So there's not going to be any violence at this, because they're not going to let these guys martyr themselves to inspire other people to pick up the flag, right? I believe the chief of police in Washington, D.C. has already said that, okay, where they're gathering at's in Virginia, I believe, and they're going to march across this bridge, and when you get to the other side of the bridge, that's when you're in Washington, D.C. And I believe the chief of police has already said that they're going to have the cops waiting there at the other side of the bridge, and they're going to turn them back. Kokesh himself has said that at the first sign of police resistance, they're going to hook a 180 and just go home. It sounds like a plan. Well, first of all, I don't think anybody's going to be flying to Washington with their firearms. I think that's a little trickier than just putting it in the trunk of your car and driving there. The bulk of these people, if not all of them, they're going to be driving to Washington, D.C. And the cost of gas and staying in motels along the way and buying food and all that. Pretty expensive road trip to walk across a bridge and get sent home. That's what they say they're going to do. Rest assured, they will have just millions and millions of media, camera, and personnel there to film your moment of disgrace, to capture it for posterity, how all these fierce anarchists that want to buck the government, they turn tail and walk back across the bridge at the first sign of resistance. And that's what's going to happen right there. You're going to drive all across the country with loaded weapons in your car just to get there, be made to look like a punk-ass bitch on mainstream news, and then go home. That's what's going to happen. You're going to end up looking weak. By extension, you're going to make all of us look weak. And that's going to be the end of it. You're not going to get the big showdown that you want. You're not going to even set foot in Washington, D.C. with those guns. That said, what's to be gained from it? From what I can tell, the only thing basically these people are hoping to accomplish is that they're going to put on a loaded gun and walk down the streets of Washington, D.C. And what that will allow them to do is beat their chest. Look at me. Look at what a badass I am. Yeah, I walked with a loaded gun down the streets of Washington. Me and my compatriots, my merry band of followers, we all got strapped and walked the streets of the nation's capital. Well, you ain't going to get to. You're not going to get your moment in the sun. Keep thinking that this makes you some kind of a tough guy or cool, or you're now the new in crowd. Because, hey, they're already framing the debate that way. The anarchists and the libertarians and all. Everybody who's not in favor of this is a pussy, and everybody who is in favor of it, they're real diehard patriots. So that's where we're at. Those of us who think it's a pretty fucking stupid idea, well, we're pussies for thinking that. Alright, I can live with that. It's anarchists, so yeah, what the fuck? That's basically all they do is go around on the internet calling people names anyways. So to them, they're not going to get their moment in the sun. They think they are. They think they're going to accomplish something. The most that they could possibly accomplish out of this is just an awesome ego trip, and you're not even going to get that. But let's see what you can lose out of this. Okay, well, first of all, I already explained the loss of money, driving all the way across the country, and the expenses incurred along the way. You're out all of that just for, a 15-minute walk across a bridge, And then your weak ass is going to get sent back to the car and sit home. Oh, yeah, and by the way, you can just bet that the FBI, they're going to figure out where these folks are parking at. You figure they're all going to ride in together, they're all going to be parking together, they're going to be going around getting license plate numbers, and you can bet that somewhere between Washington and your hometown, you're going to get pulled over by law enforcement. I bet they're going to have Virginia police, Maryland police. I bet Washington, the city is just going to be surrounded. They're going to be looking for cars coming from that. Is this plate on the list? Ooh, it's on the list. He's got a gun in the car. Let's pull him over. See what we can see what we can do. See how we can frame them. See how we can do this or do that. Now that all the hubbub is settled, just pick them off one by one on the way back home. There you have it. Okay, I already mentioned the loss of freedom. Adam Kokesh is asking people to do something illegal. Now, he's not asking you to write on the wall with chalk or to sit down and not move, Rudy Poot illegal. He's asking you to do something illegal that involves a firearm. Think hard. Think long and hard on this. People that I've seen that have jumped on this bandwagon, they're not thinking hard about it. It sounds cool, I'm in. Nary a thought to show for it. Another thing, the loss of credibility of all gun owners. And this is something that I've noticed from perusing the left-wing websites, and the links are down there, you can see for yourself. The anti-gun lefties, they can't wait. They are just foaming at the mouth, slobbering like ravenous dogs. They can't wait to see 1,000 law-abiding gun owners break the law with those guns. And by extension, every single law-abiding gun owner gets tarred with that same brush. So they're loving this. Now here's the catch. If you remember back in 2008, Ron Paul had a big rally in Washington, D.C. And I believe it had 100,000 people, over 100,000 there. I was home that day and I had 2 TVs and the computer on, and I was monitoring all the mainstream news, trying to see one mention of that rally. Over 100,000 people piled up in the nation's capital. Surely it's going to be some type of story, if nothing but a blurb. It wasn't even a blurb. That shit that scrolls on the bottom of the screen, no mention of it. It was completely blacked out. Nobody even knows it happened except Ron Paul people. The rest of the world did not and does not have a clue. Now, contrast it with this. They're blasting the news of this from the rooftops. Mainstream media's carrying it. It's all over the internet. Adam Kokesh, he's all looking like a real leader of the people and everything, up there in front of the TV cameras talking this and talking that. Makes you wonder, though, how come they would black out one event and they're publicizing the fuck out of this event? I mean, the media's basically promoting it. They're talking bad about it in a negative way, but they're making people aware that this is happening. They're making sure everybody knows that a big pack of gun owners are fixing to walk into Washington, D.C. with loaded weapons in the street. They're making sure that everybody's aware of this. Why is that? This is the one single big thing. Why? Why are they making the entire country well aware that all these men are fixing to walk into Washington, D.C. with loaded firearms? Why? You think maybe they've got something up their sleeve? You think? Yeah, they got something planned. They're going to do something. It doesn't involve mowing down anybody with machine guns in the street. It involves something they're going to do with their news programs and their newspapers, and it's possibly going to end up in some really, really fucked up legislation. Now, I'm not talking about legislation such as whether you can have large capacity magazines or you can own this type of weapon or that type of weapon. I'm talking about, it'll probably be legislation concerning the transport of firearms from point A to point B. Oh no, we're not saying that you can't have an AR-15. You just can't put it in the trunk of your car and cross state lines with it anymore. Or you can't do this, you can't do... Something bad is going to come out of this. You can see it coming. Fucking Ray Charles can see it. He's blind and dead. Why? Why? Anybody in their fucking right mind thinks this is a good idea it's beyond me, man. I've sat and thought about it. I can't think of anything good that's going to come out of this other than some bullshit adolescent ego trip that you did this, so you can beat your chest, and you ain't even going to get to do that. Oh, and one more thing just to keep in mind, thought I'd throw out there. Just in case, the very minute chance that things do go horribly awry and lead starts flying, rest assured that everybody there is going to get the Timothy McVeigh, David Koresh treatment. The whole world will think you're scum. So, they've got the machine to make people think that. They got the machine to make people think whatever they want them to think, pretty much. And rest assured that if any dead bodies come out of this, you're going to be made to look bad. All of us are going to be made to look bad. Everybody from the anarchists all the way up to the Republicans. The whole right wing of the spectrum is going to end up with egg on their face if there's one single dead body comes out of this. But I don't think there's going to be, like I said, because they're not going to let these clowns get out there and martyr themselves. Martyrs attract people to the cause. Look at Gandhi. Look at Taliban, Al-Qaeda and all them. Every time we kill one with a drone, 5 more terrorists pop up. So it's just a bad move to martyr anybody, so that's not going to happen. Now let's take a real close look at the guy who's heading this up, Adam Kokesh. Adam Kokesh received a less than honorable discharge from the military. No shortage of people in the military feel like he disgraced the uniform, be that as it may. That's pretty subjective. That's your own opinion whether you did or not. Me, I'm kind of half and half on it. I understand, as activists, that some veterans, they're trying to make political hay by wearing their uniform into protests and all that. It's against the rules. You signed on for that job. You received a paycheck for it. Being a Marine in Iraq, he did get paid for that. That's part of the job. Part of the job also is you obey the rules that your employer sets for you. So did he deserve his less than honorable discharge? Yes, he deserved it. He consciously, knowingly and willingly violated their little rule, and he wore his Army uniform in a protest march. Now, me personally, I don't give a shit either way about that. I ain't got a pony in that race, so who gives a fuck if he wants to wear his military uniform in a protest march. No skin off my nose. So that's no biggie. But here is the biggie. Once he left the United States Marines, what did he do? He went and was apparently one of the big wheels with a group called Iraq Veterans Against the War, the IVAW. IVAW, you may not know, or you may know. They are a group funded by George Soros. Now, Soros does fund a lot of groups. Pretty much every single group, every single activist group or political group in the country that's on the left that works against the interests of the United States or whatever, he's got, some money put in there. IVAW was heavily bankrolled by Soros. He was the sugar daddy for the most part. After Kokesh left that, he went to work. He has a little TV show called Adam versus the Man, featured on RT. They call it RT because if they call it by their full name, Russia Today, it tends to alienate some folks. You think, oh, holy shit, Russia Today, Russia? Yes, that is a state-run, state-financed propaganda wing. So, first Kokesh works for the federal government as a soldier. Then he goes to work for Soros. Then he goes to work for Putin. Vladimir Putin. Rootin' tootin' Vladimir Putin. So right there's 3. U.S. government, George Soros, and Vladimir Putin. Kokesh has some shady connections. He's worked for some bad people. Hate to say that about my own government, but hey, the shoe fits, you wear it. I fucking hate the government. Fuck them. I love my country. I hate the government. Kokesh and others of his ilk, they hate both. They seem to have a hard-on for not only the government, but the United States of America as well. People like Kokesh and others like him who, if it were not for Ron Paul, probably nobody would even know this clown's name. But him and others like him that have achieved some degree of celebrity status, at least within the liberty community, now they trash Ron Paul and Rand Paul. Well, why? Well, because, hell, fuck, Ron Paul's not in office anymore. He's not running for office. Ain't no more they can squeeze out of him. Might as well just trash his name for the sake of controversy. Because controversy attracts viewers. The more viewers you have, the more traffic you have. The more traffic you have, the higher your advertising revenue rates go. That's right, more money. Controversy equals money. Beware of the professional activist. See what I'm saying? Controversy equals money when you are in the infotainment business. Anytime somebody's receiving money for their activism work, watch them. Cui bono, who's benefiting? Well, him, for starters. He's all over the fucking mainstream media. Pretty much everybody in the country knows who Adam Kokesh's name is now. They know who Adam Kokesh is. And mission accomplished for Adam, right? If you wanted to be overly cynical and, beware of the professional activist and all that, then yeah, pretty much the case. Mission accomplished. So already we've seen that Kokesh has worked for some dubious characters, even minus the United States government. Come on, man, Vladimir Putin and George Soros, you're cashing their paychecks? Yeah, that's a red flag. That's 2 red flags. While receiving paychecks from Putin and Soros, who did Kokesh affiliate himself with? Well, when he was with IVAW, he's marched in the streets with Code Pink and other such illustrious personages. He's engaged in what activists call direct action with communists, Marxists. Now, where I'm going with this is that questionable associations equal questionable leadership. If you ain't got enough sense to stay away from some people, to not ally yourselves with them, why should anybody follow you? Why should anybody listen to you? Why should you be in any type of a leadership position if you don't have any more sense than to get out in the street and march with a bunch of goddamn Reds? And you're supposed to be a libertarian or an anarchist or whatever, and you're out here, rolling with the Reds. Man, that's a big red flag indeed on that. So, right there, to me, that's a deal breaker. Hey, you know what? If you want to hang with commies, that's your business, but you ain't my leader in no way, shape, or form. In fact, if you fraternize with Reds, to me, it pretty much disqualifies everything that comes out of your mouth. People like that, I tend to look at them as like the National Enquirer. They have about that much credibility. Because if you ain't got enough sense to not hang with commies, it's like, man, you ain't got enough sense to pour piss out of a boot with the directions printed on the heel. Right there, Adam Kokesh, he's disqualified from leadership. Now, on that score, too, a friend of mine here in Austin, another professional activist with a nice radio show, is actually a pretty good guy. His name's John Bush. He put a post on Facebook here a while back that how much easier it was as an anarchist he gets along with the left so much easier than he gets along with the right, and he can work with them where he can't work with Republicans. It's pretty funny because I'm a Republican and he and I have always gotten along pretty well. But John Bush, I hope you're watching this because I did paste it right on your wall. Go down into the info section, look at those links. Follow those links. Go to the article. Fuck the article. You don't need to read that shit. Go down to the bottom to the comment section. The comment section on those articles. Look what your lefty buddies are saying about you. The lefties want these motherfuckers dead. They are calling for it. Calling for the police to gun them down in the street like dogs. And and I'm seeing it over and over and over. People in the liberty community, it's always something happens and you see them pop up and say, man, I never knew Democrats could be so nasty. Oh, the left, they're just evil. You think? Fuck, we've been telling you this shit all along. People like me, back when the campaign was still going, why are all you Ron Paulards out there sucking Democrat dick trying to get a fucking vote? Ron Paul's a fucking Republican. We need Republicans to vote for him. You should be taking the message to Republicans. That's what I've done all along. Fuck a Democrat, man. You got to convince a Democrat, A, to vote Republican, then to vote for Ron Paul. If you got a Republican voter, just convince them to vote for Ron Paul. Hell, they're a lot easier to talk to. And they're not insane, and they're not evil and stupid, which is what you're going to get basically with your average leftist. And they are coming out the woodwork on the comment section of these articles. The things being said, they've already decided that this is how the left is framing the dialogue, is that all these guys that are going to Washington to strap on guns and march down the street, they're all Tea Partiers. Yeah, right-wing Republican nut jobs. These are fucking anarchists, man. They'll kick it with the goddamn communists before they'll hang with Tea Partiers. I don't understand that. In a way, it kind of hurts my feelings, Why is a fucking red better than me to you guys? But I'm not an anarchist, so, fuck them. Fuck them and their commie-loving asses. But you know what? they're getting a big wake-up call now. They're seeing how all their left-wing buddies that, hey, John Bush, they're so easy to cooperate with. What happened? Why do they hate you now? Why do they want you dead? This is no new development. They've always wanted you dead. You gotta understand. If you don't understand this about the left, you need to hit the books. You need to do some studying. You need to see what the left really is, what they really, really are behind that happy mask. And these aren't just like random nut jobs going off. You see a pattern. They want these people to get fucked up. They want every one of them behind bars at least. And there's a sizable percentage are calling for every one of them to be shot down. So, that's what you get with the left. Okay, so let's do a brief recap here. Point number 1, illegal actions are taboo in the activist community. Is this an illegal action? Yes, it is. Highly illegal. Point number 2, choose your leaders wisely. Has this been done in this instance? Absolutely not. Adam Kokesh is the chosen leader. Adam Kokesh is a very flawed individual with a lot of baggage. I'm sure he's a great guy. People that I know that have met him personally and hung out with him, they said he's cool as shit. I'm not knocking him as a human being. I'm knocking his leadership and I'm knocking his judgment. Point number 3, beware of the professional activist. Is this being headed up by a professional activist? Adam Kokesh. Yes, it is. Again, very flawed leader and a professional activist. Number 4, the most important of all, is the prize worth the price? And absolutely not. No way, shape, or form, because in this particular instance, there is no prize. There's the prize that you think you're going to get, and it ain't much. Why you would drive all the way across the country just to boost your ego is beyond me. But you ain't even going to get that. So right there, all 4 points, this adds up to a very stupid move, a very poor decision. It's going to end badly. I don't know how it's going to end badly. Is it going to end badly with bullets? No. 99.99% that it's not going to. Now, it could, because in a situation like this, all it takes is, it would take one provocateur, just one. Actually, that would be a saboteur in this instance. It would only take one saboteur for this whole thing to end very, very badly. But I don't think these guys want that. Well, there's some that do. I think there's a lot of these guys that are going to this. In their minds, they have this fantasy of themselves going out in a hail of bullets against the evil forces of the New World Order. Yeah, take that, pigs. Oh, you got me. And thus ends another one. Kick my microphone stand there, sorry, I won't carry it away. But they're not even going to get that. You're not going to be a martyr. You're not going to get anything. You're not going to be a He-Man who gets to beat his chest because you got one over on the man. No, you ain't going to get that neither. There's nothing to be gained. There's just, you can lose a little by being forced back across that bridge looking like a punk-ass bitch, look like a dumb-ass coward. And that's how they're going to play. Look at these punk bitches. Look at these cowards. Yeah, that's the right wing for you right there. Look at all that fight in them. Yeah, look at them fighting their way back across that bridge. Fighting their way back to their car so they can get the hell out of Dodge before their dumb ass goes to jail. Even that little bit of a loss, it's just a major PR disaster for the whole liberty movement, for anybody that owns a firearm. And not just the liberty movement, but just the right wing in general. Just people who believe in good old-fashioned American values. Now you look like a punk bitch too, because these dudes turned tail and ran. You get right down to it, the smartest thing for them to do would probably be start busting caps. At least they wouldn't look like bitches. That's what's going to happen. They're all going to end up looking like punk bitches. They're going to turn around and walk back to their cars and go home. If they make it home without getting pulled over on. This is William Brown just throwing some crazy shit out there as usual for you to think about. Crazy but true. Kokesh's open carry march. Bad leader, bad idea, an idea whose time definitely has not come. Why anybody would sign on for this, I don't know. But anyways, my name is William Brown, Public Texas TV. I do thank you very much for watching. And may whatever God you worship bless you abundantly. And for all of you who are attending this march, that goes double for you, man. I hope the good Lord is looking out for you guys. I hope they're looking out for all of us. But I don't know, man. God's kind of funny like that. Sometimes he just lets you roll with your own bad decision. Sometimes that's the only way people learn. Thank you for watching. Y'all have a good day. Hey!
sun.